All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and start here today. For those that don't know me, I'm Andrew Cole. I'm the president of the East Orlando Chamber of Commerce. And today we have a great presentation on how social media can deliver bottom line results for you with Shana Heinricy, who is the director of social media from Wingnut Social. But before we get going, I want to make a couple announcements and pieces there. One, I want to say thank you to PowerNet, who has supplied our platform for our media today. They're a great partner, a media partner with the Chamber, and also a member of the East Orlando Chamber. So we want to give them due credit for what they've done to help us promote this and to be able to offer all the opportunities that we have for everybody here. And then secondly, I'll make sure that we make an introduction to all of our Chamber trustees: Advent Health, Avalon Park Group, Avalon Insurance Services, Duke Energy, Fairwinds Credit Union, Great Florida Insurance of Hunters Creek, the Orlando Law Group, Orlando Health, Suburban Land Reserve. All of these folks are stakeholders within our community and also very important members, as all of our members are with the Chamber. But as these folks have made more of an investment within the Chamber and help steer us and guide us to where we are moving forward in the community. So we appreciate their membership and what they do with the Chamber. So without further ado, Shana, I want to go ahead and give it to you to introduce, and you can tell everybody about yourself and show your expertise here. And welcome to another East Orlando Chamber webinar, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks. I'm really excited to talk to you guys. I love talking about social media. So one thing, as you come on, if you could put in the chat what company you're with, I'd love to hear that. And then I can tailor some of my examples to your company as much as I'm able to throughout. So that's really helpful if you can just let me know what company. I saw Yasha's from Platinum Signs. I saw that one already. And Signarama. Audrey is from Signarama. Cool, thank you. And
we have Peter's with Coffee Cravings. He has a automatic coffee maker, and I don't know who else is here off the top of my head. I'm just trying to go from there. I've got Mark with no other name on it, and Brenda, just to go through those. So Blair Creative Group with Renee.
Oh, Brenda's from Orlando Health. Cool, awesome, thank you. That is wonderful.
A very diverse group here, so.
Yeah, so a lot of different sorts of businesses. So what we want to focus on today is really how to get ROI from social media. A lot of people know the basics on how to do social, but I find a lot of business owners are asking me all the time, like, so how do I make money with this? How do I make money with social? So that's one of the things we're really going to focus on today is what are the different types of ROI that you can get and how you can do those. What are some strategies that will help you to get that sort of ROI while you're doing social? So I am assuming some level of knowledge about, you know, social posting being appropriate for your brand and those sorts of things. We're also going to talk a bit about how to handle crises on social media, like civil unrest and COVID. A lot of people are like, what the heck do I post? What do I do? How do I handle this? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then finally, we'll discuss some things that are appropriate to post right now, what sorts of things you should be posting. And I just noticed Renee is from Blair Creative Group. Cool, great. Thank you. So if we have time, we'll get into those things to post, but I have a lot of info for you. And please, please put comments in the chat, like questions in the chat while we're going. I'll keep an eye on those the best I can. I love to answer as we're going, so it's relevant to what we're talking about at the time. So we'll do that as much as we can. I think getting answers to your questions is probably more valuable for you than all the stuff that I want to tell you, because they're your specific questions. So please ask, please ask. Okay, who am I? Why am I talking to you? Why am I here? My name's Shana Heinricy, and right now I'm the Director of Social Media at Wingnut Social. We're a social media agency. We handle full service social media management for a variety of different businesses, mostly small and medium-sized businesses. We have a lot of clients in the home industry. We focus a lot on that, but we're branching out into all sorts of different industries. We do other things like blogs and email marketing, paid social, Google ads. We do general marketing stuff as well, but social is what we really specialize in. So I've been working in communications for well over 20 years at this point, and I have a lot of experience there professionally, and also as a faculty member and someone who researches and publishes on those areas. So I have experience in sort of two different facets of it, looking at the big picture, thinking strategy, and also doing research. So everything I do with social is very, very data driven. I want to see the results. I want to see the data. What's the data telling us your audience likes? What's our data saying that like they don't want you to do this anymore? And I like to make decisions about social based on that data. I've been a faculty member at University of New Mexico, Xavier University, and right now I'm also adjunct faculty member at Full Sail. So I teach at Full Sail sometimes. All right, let's get into a little bit more. One of the things that I really want you to remember, the most important thing to me that you get out of this talk is that you not forget about the social in social media, right? It's very different than one-way communication. It's a two-way communication tool. And you can talk directly with your clients, get their feedback, interact with them, with your customers. And most other platforms don't really have that ability. Email, websites, all those things are things where you really, really control the message. But this is different. And sometimes it can feel chaotic to business owners, and they don't really want to do it because they want to try really hard to control the message. Well, the social part is the most important part. It's what lets you get ROI. And the chaos should be embraced because the chaos of it is what allows people to learn about your business, to have people really promoting it and talking about it. It's what gives you business intelligence. It's really what allows you to succeed. So during this time right now with COVID going on, people were on social 40% more on average once the quarantine started. So it really is a good time and has been a good time to really double down on social media as a way to make certain that your business is in great standing when we are coming out of all of this stuff. So the things that are happening now. So the more you can build that audience and build the loyal fans and really talk to your audience and feel like they're connected to you, the more you can do that, the better off your business is going to be. Okay, so here are the types of SOI that you, or SOI, that's very different, ROI that you generally can get from social media, and we'll go through all of them a little bit, but just remember brand loyalty and referrals are probably the two biggest ones. So when you're connecting with these people and you're forging these connections, you have a dramatic increase in brand loyalty and referrals because more people like you, they'll come back to you, and they'll also tell others about it. So it's really a platform for nurturing those referrals and repeat customers. That's one of the things that social is strongest in for any business. You can also reduce the cost to acquire a new customer because social can be cheaper than other marketing channels, but not always, in part through those referrals that you're able to get by really building that brand loyalty. So website traffic, we'll talk a little about. Website traffic is often what people come to as like, the reason I want to do social is because I want more website traffic. social actually does not excel in website traffic. It is definitely ROI that you can get, but it should not be, if that's really what you want, social shouldn't be the main place that you're investing in that, especially organic social. So paid social has more potential in that area. And one of the reasons for this is that companies want you to stay on that platform. So Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. If you're posting links to other things, they actually demote your post a little bit, so you don't get the kind of reach that you would get if you were just posting organic content. So for example, if you're linking to your YouTube video, it will get less views than if you just posted the video organically. So you don't always want to be using those links. You want to try and build that community on that platform. You don't want to encourage people to leave because the platforms don't like it if you try to encourage people to leave. Business intelligence and improving customer care, those are two that are very important aspects. You can do social listening where you'll learn about what all your customers are saying about you, and you'll also learn about customer care. You'll also be able to help with customer care by having things set up so that like all of your comments on social or all of your direct messages on social actually feed into customer service, because people really find customer service important. People expect it to happen faster and faster. I'm sorry, I see the question, wow, didn't realize this. What if it is through Hootsuite? Could you tell me a little more about what you mean there? It's through Hootsuite, in what way? I'm sorry, I missed that.
If I post it through Hootsuite, through Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, it's not like I'm promoting another site on Facebook. So they wouldn't demote my post because of that, would they?
Because you used Hootsuite?
Yes.
Oh, no. It doesn't matter what platform you're using to post. They put out proprietary APIs to allow you to do that. So yeah, there's no, use social management softwares, like definitely use them. They don't cause any difference in how your post is seen. There's like an order in general, and it depends on the platform. For example, on Instagram, single posts do better than multi-pic posts than videos. So a single photo post tends to get more engagement and more impressions than something that is a multi-pic, and the multi-pics get even more than a video. So posting videos natively on Instagram actually gets you like much less engagement. So it does change a lot. But then posts with links, which you can't do on Instagram, but on all the platforms, those are a little bit less than the others. But it doesn't matter at all who you post through. Thank you. That's a good question. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about a few strategies to do some of these things. Like, how do I get the brand loyalty and referrals? Clearly, you're responding to all comments, right? You need to respond to all comments. You need to be consistent in what you're putting out there for your brand. And to do that, you really create a strategy. So you know, like, this is what my brand looks like. Here are the colors, the fonts, here's how we talk, this is the kind of voice that we have. And then you figure out platform by platform. So how will that manifest on Twitter versus how it manifests on Facebook? It might be slightly different how that brand will manifest. So you might be a bit more lighthearted on Twitter. So what's appropriate on Twitter? So create a document, like a one-page document that clearly lays that out to make certain that people are getting consistent ideas and messages about your brand when they touch your website, your blog, any different content that you have out there. Audience-centered. You really need to make certain you're thinking about what those loyal customers want and need to hear from you. So you create some personas of like, this is the kind of customer I'm reaching. Here's another kind of customer that I'm reaching. Then look at the marketing funnel. So when you look at the marketing funnel, you'll think about here at the brand awareness stage, someone who's like this persona will need this sort of information. Then when we go down a little bit, another level in the funnel, they'll need this sort of information. Here they're considering multiple products, so I need to explain to them in some way how my product differs. So then you kind of figure out, what are the stories I need to tell? What are the stories I need to tell for the other person? Then what type of content is this going to be? All right, let's make a video to help show this. Let's do a user-generated content campaign to really get everyone engaged, or let's do a contest for this one. That will help more people to see it. So figure out how you want it to manifest, but really always, anything you post, you should ask yourself, is this what my audience wants and needs, as opposed to what I just want to tell them? Always, always be thinking that way. I see the question about how valuable are all the tags on Instagram and Twitter. They're extraordinarily valuable, and we'll get to that in 1 or 2 slides from now. So also, really let your fans feel like you heard them. It's really important that you listen to them, ask them their perspectives on things, let them help name a product, or give you ideas on what else they'd like you to offer. Ask them genuine questions and listen to their answers and respond to them. This is how you build a loyal following on social media. This is how you help social media to really, really work for your business. Okay, increasing brand awareness. So increasing brand awareness is about getting those people who don't know you to know you. And there's a couple ways that you can do that. One is commenting on other people's posts. This strategy, I know for many influencers, this strategy is what, built their 100,000 plus following. So what you need to do is figure out who my target market is and what other businesses they might talk about or go to or relate to that are local. So it might be, for example, you're trying to target this high-end neighborhood, and people in that neighborhood tend to go to this really expensive gym that everyone loves. Maybe you go and comment on the posts of that gym. You're using your business account, but you're just talking about the post like everyone else. You're not selling anything, but people start to see your name. And if they see your name, if someone's aware of your name, when it's time for them to purchase things, they're 70% more likely to purchase from a company that they've heard their name before than one they haven't. So it helps get your name out there, and it also helps get people following you. They see you comment, and then they follow you. So it also could be something like an account where your audience works. So set aside a little amount of time, or have your marketing person do this, to comment on other people's posts. Now, groups can be really important as well. You can find Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, or start your own that relate to your industry and comment in them. Wingnut Social has one, actually. Wingnut Social has one that is all about social media. And so we moderate a group, and that helps us be able to tell people about what we're doing. We have an audience that's going to hear more of what we're saying. And then we also participate in other people's groups. Hashtags. Hashtags are the key way, one of the most important ways out there to get people to see you who don't know your business. They search for these hashtags and they see all these different brands come up. So hashtags are extremely important. You can use them on Facebook, although they're not used on Facebook as much. You can use them on LinkedIn. You can use them on Pinterest. You can use them on literally on every platform now. But they're really most valuable for Instagram and Twitter, and also for LinkedIn. LinkedIn hashtags can be quite helpful on LinkedIn. It can be really hard to build businesses on LinkedIn right now. So we suggest using a large number of hashtags actually when you're on Instagram, like 20 hashtags. It's usually found that you'll see all these studies out there that say that, 3 hashtags or 7 hashtags gets you the maximum amount of views, but that's being averaged with all of the extremely large accounts that are using 0 hashtags. So since really big accounts that get tons of engagement and impressions are using fewer hashtags, that really does skew the numbers. For smaller accounts, generally more hashtags equals more impressions. And you can go into, on an Instagram post, you can go into insights for each post and you can see a number that is % of non-followers seeing your post. So if that % is less than 50%, you probably need to change your hashtags, use more, use different ones. If it is, you know, if it's way above 50%, it looks like you're doing pretty good. Your hashtags are working. Location tags. Should hashtags be common words or from sites or unique to your event or business? So a lot of people use branded hashtags, and honestly, branded hashtags are only valuable if other people will be posting to your hashtag. So for like East Orlando Chamber, that makes sense. You have all these other businesses, who are part of your organization, they're going to be posting on social, they use your hashtag, then you have a whole bunch of different people posting that hashtag. But if you have a business like a small interior design firm, for example, most likely, if someone goes to that hashtag, all they're going to see is the same as their social media feed put in that hashtag. So it doesn't really make sense to have a branded hashtag because it just shows that no one is talking about you on social. So figure out ways that you can get people to engage with other hashtags and you can use those. The rule of thumb is generally about 1/3 of your hashtags are specific to like what's in the post. So they're specific to that. Then you have another 10 or let's say 1/3. You have another 1/3 that are about sort of terms relating to your industry or more general things, not literal things in the post, but they might be like hashtag current design situation, for example, is a really common one for interior design right now. So it might be one of those. Then it also, you might have 1/3 of them that are about the location that you're targeting. So that's the general rule of thumb with hashtags. Example for the love post. Can you use an example for the love posts on the video that you're showing? Oh, love pop. I can't quite because all of the hashtags need to be heavily researched. So what you should not do is look at this and think hashtag vase, hashtag paper flowers, and put those things in, hashtag flowers, and put those things in. What you need to do is research them because you don't know, there might be a lot of other things associated with paper flowers that have nothing to do with these paper flowers. When you do your research, you'll find that paper flowers isn't really the best hashtag to use at all. There's a bunch of flowers, or there's a bunch of other hashtags relating to paper flowers that you wouldn't have thought of off the top of your head, and they could be much better ones to use. So you really don't want to just look at it and pull out words without doing your research. You also need to look at like how much is the hashtag used, and you want to go with some big hashtags, some small hashtags, and some medium size in terms of the number of uses that they have. Where do you do your research? Well, there are platforms that can do that. There's some platforms that can do that for you, like Hashtagify. But what you really want to do is just do that on the platform yourself. Pull up Instagram. That's an easy one. You do the same thing on Twitter, works the same. And just put in the hashtag. So I'm putting in right now, I'm typing in hashtag paper flowers. It says it has 1.9 million uses, for example. So that would be a large hashtag, but I don't want to use all large. I want to use smaller ones and stuff. So I put in hashtag paper flowers, and then it pulls up all of these options. And oddly, looks like a lot of them, they definitely don't look like paper flowers. Wow, those are the most realistic paper flowers I have ever seen. But then I look at the top posts and I can see what hashtags are they using. These are posts that got a lot of likes, right? So which hashtags are they using? Again, exact same thing for Twitter. What you know, what are other hashtags that those posts on Twitter are using? So I see here there's hashtag crepe paper flowers, hashtag Toronto paper artist, hashtag floral art, hashtag instaflower, hashtag all things botanical. That's kind of what I mean in that, like, there's some I never would have thought of, hashtag all things botanical on my own. And then I click on that and let's see here. So that hashtag has 271,000 uses. So all things botanical, that would probably go in my medium hashtag size, up to about 100,000. So really things under 100,000 are what I consider small, and you generally don't want to use things under 20,000 unless it's really specific to your audience and you know it'll get them. The idea with hashtags is that you really want people to, I'm sorry, I lost my comment bar. Okay. So the things with hashtags, the goal with them is that the first seconds when your post goes up, you want there to be people looking at the hashtag so that they can interact with your post. And the more people that engage with your post early on, your tweet, your Facebook post, your LinkedIn post, whatever post, the more people that engage with it right away, the more people the algorithm is going to decide to show it to. So if you're using a hashtag that has like 100 uses, the odds are no one's going to be looking at that hashtag when you post. It's not really going to give your post a boost. Do you hashtag Facebook, and how would you research that? Or do you focus on Instagram and Twitter? You primarily focus on Instagram and Twitter. For Facebook, there are studies now. There are some studies that say posts do better with no hashtags, and then some say 1 to 3. So definitely don't go over 3 hashtags. Hashtag research on Facebook is really difficult. You can really just look up and see, like, is this one being used, and is the stuff that's being used in it relevant to what I'm posting? If what you're posting doesn't really relate to what's being posted under that hashtag, don't do it. With Twitter, it's the same. You just go to Twitter and you search, it tells you how many uses it has. You can go to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a really good one with hashtags. But it's a little bit harder to research them. One second. I'm just pulling up this number so I can show you. Okay. So on LinkedIn, you put in like hashtag marketing. You have to click on it. So like, unfortunately with Instagram, you just put it in the search bar and you can see the numbers before you even click on anything. And it shows you a whole list of other hashtags related to it that you might want to choose. But on LinkedIn, you have to actually click on the hashtag to see it in the results. It'll tell you hashtag marketing has 20 million followers, for example. But that means those are the people following the hashtag. So anything posted to that hashtag will appear in the feed of 20 million followers. So it's a good one. That's extra large. Probably want to go with some a little smaller than that. That one's so big that you'll probably get lost in the constant flow of them. Let me see. I lost my comments. There you go. Can I share that screen? It's my personal LinkedIn content, so I don't really want to share that screen, but literally all you're doing is putting hashtag marketing in the search bar and hitting enter. That's all you're doing. And it'll show you the amount of followers of that hashtag, and then it will show you some posts that use that hashtag, and you will then have to, you know, search for more. So you put that in, you found that one, then put in another one and find that. I have found with LinkedIn that sometimes there's things that I totally expect will be popular hashtags, and they're not at all. So definitely look and make certain it's a popular hashtag and it's a used hashtag. I'll give you an example here. I had an interior designer client who works in Manhattan. I would assume that the hashtag Manhattan designer would be huge. Tons of different designers, because it could be graphic designers as well as interior designers and all sorts of designers. But Manhattan designer on Instagram has only been used 435 times. It's tiny. Tiny, tiny hashtag. So are there any more questions about hashtags. Oh, what's the recommended number used on LinkedIn? 1 to 3. You can go as high as like 5 on LinkedIn, but generally use 1 to 3, maybe 5. So location tags are another way that get your post seen by people who are not followers. But I want to be very clear about this. Only use location tags on Instagram. Because the reason here is that a location tag on Instagram means you're going to be seen in that location. If you tag a location on LinkedIn or Facebook, that means that it will only be shown to people in that location. So that can be a really useful feature if, for example, you want to create some posts for like people in Brazil. They'll show up on your main feed, but only people in Brazil are actually going to see the post. It'll only end up in the feeds of people in Brazil if that's how you target it, or in Rio if you target that city, or whatever place you want to target. Maybe you have multiple locations, multiple offices in different locations, and you might want to be able to post them. You might want to be able to do different posts for each. You could use that feature on LinkedIn or on Facebook. But on Instagram, it just means that if people search that location, they can find you. So kind of like instead of a hashtag, they can actually search a location and they can see everything tagged with that location. So on Instagram, it'll help you see more people. Facebook and LinkedIn, location allows you to see less people. Is this making sense? Let me know out there if you guys are following me. And let me know if you want to hear different sorts of information. I have the information I prepared, but I'm happy to talk about whatever the heck you guys want to know about. Okay. So for brand awareness, advertising can be really, really important. That's really a good one there. But brand awareness, hashtags, it's one of the biggest things that you can do. Commenting on other people's posts, I don't want to downplay that. I know people, like, for example, the woman who started Wingnut Social, she is an interior designer. That's why I talk about interior design clients. We have other industries, but because she's an influencer in interior design, we have an awful lot of interior design clients. So she built her business basically simply by doing that. Simply by being able to comment on other people's posts. She got tons of followers. They grew super fast. And it was really what got her in the press, which then got her more jobs and more opportunities. So she built the whole business really by spending a lot of time commenting on others' posts. Now, I know we don't all have that amount of time. She was just starting a business. So she had a lot of time at the moment. Okay, driving web traffic. This, I think, is really important for people to understand that social media can boost your web SEO. So as far as SEO, meaning search engine optimization, and search engine optimization is specifically what will drive traffic to the website, what will get people organically to find you and want to interact with your business in some sort of way. So there's search engine optimization in 2 different forms though, so I want to be clear about what I'm talking about. There is Google or Yahoo or Bing. Those are search engines, general search engines for the web. So there's that sort of SEO, and I'll tell you how to do that. But then there's also SEO on the platform, because remember, social platforms serve as search engines, especially YouTube. YouTube is the second most used search engine. You've probably heard that. It's used more for searches than Bing is, or to be quite honest. So there's ways that you need to optimize to be found on the platform. And then there's also ways that you need to be optimized in order for people to find you other places, but only certain platforms allow you to be found in Google search. We'll explain exactly what that means as I'm going on. I had the question, did she, meaning Darla Powell, the owner of my company, Did she comment on multiple platforms or sticking to specific sites to comment? In her case, she was in design. She really wanted to focus on Instagram, so she focused mainly on Instagram, but she also, you know, started a Facebook group. She grew a big Facebook group. She started a podcast. She has like a multifaceted content empire of sorts. So, but really in the beginning, she focused on one channel, and that's what I'd recommend. Really pick the channel that is going to be best for your audience and focus mainly there and get that good. Once you get that good, then expand to other platforms. You really don't need to do all platforms all the time. So you can repost. It's not the best, right? In an ideal world, we want specific original content made solely for each platform. But we don't have time for that. There's more and more platforms every day. There's so many platforms. So focus on one, get that one good, and maybe push your stuff to another platform, right? Push your stuff to another platform. So maybe you're creating stuff mainly for Twitter. You can push some of your tweets to Facebook. So you have content on Facebook still. You're really focusing on Twitter for your audience, for example. Or you want to focus on YouTube. Well, you can put some of your videos from YouTube on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram, but you're primarily creating your content for that platform. So do that first, get really good at that platform, then expand to other platforms. Okay, so let's get clear on some of this stuff. You have to optimize your profiles for search. Now this means, for example, you might have someone who is a client that I have that's a dentist, for example, and their handle for social is at their business name dental, right? But then you have a name field as well. So you don't want your name field to say the same thing as your handle, because your handle is going to get you brought up in search when people search for those words. So for example, the name field might be Orlando Dentist, or it might be Hunter's Run Orlando Dentist, for example, Downtown Orlando Dentist. You might have something more specific in it, but use other terms. So that's really important. And I'm going to show you in a second in another slide exactly what links, like what part is searchable in the profiles of the different platforms. It's very different for the different platforms. So we'll talk about that a little bit. If you want web traffic, by far your best platform is Pinterest. Pinterest is by far the best. For people who are doing a decent job on Pinterest, they will see Pinterest as their second biggest traffic driver after Google when you go into Google Analytics and look at how your business is doing. Pinterest should be the second biggest traffic driver. What you need to do that is really SEO your posts, because Pinterest, you might not know this, but Pinterest posts are indexed in Google image search. So if someone's searching for a topic on Google and they click the images option, they will see Pinterest posts related to that. So you have to optimize the title and the description of your posts on Pinterest to be full of keywords that will help you be found. So figure out what you want to be found for and put those words in. So really craft your Pinterest posts and really focus on those words. You see here. I have more to tell you about. Okay, I wanted to make certain I covered everything. So UTM codes, I'm not going to talk a lot about UTM codes here, but it's a way to make certain you're tracking the web traffic that comes from social. If you don't know about them, they're very easy to use. Google UTM codes, and you really should have UTM codes on any links that lead to your website that you put on social, in an email, wherever it is. And that will help Google Analytics to track where that traffic is coming from much better. So you don't put it on, you don't use a UTM code on an article that's going to the CDC, for example. It's something from the CDC's website. Only websites you control and you own. Okay, so where we can put links. This is important because it's not the same in anywhere. So for these first ones, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Snapchat, with those, you can put them on any post and in the profile. So you can use links in multiple places. Now, for TikTok and Instagram, you can only put links in the profile. You can't put them in posts at all. If you have more than 10,000 followers, you can put a link in your story, and then Instagram becomes a really big web traffic driver if you can put links in your stories. And IGTV, Instagram TV, you can actually put links in those posts. In the description of the post at the end, you can put a link. So if you're doing any IGTV videos, make certain to put them there. So clearly you want to drive web traffic. Instagram and TikTok are not your guys, not where you want to focus at all. So you can include search terms in your profile in different places. For LinkedIn, that's the name, the headline, the summary. So you want to make certain on your personal LinkedIn profile, for being found in searches on LinkedIn, you want to make certain that you are having a headline that includes those search terms. Your name is just your name, but your headline is going to include search terms. So instead of social media director at Wingnut Social, I have director of social media, influencer marketing. I have other terms in there, public relations, other terms in my headline that relate to things that I want to be found for on LinkedIn. And also your summary on your page. Your summary is also text that can be searched. For Pinterest, as I mentioned, posts, titles, profiles, anything, board names, everything you put up on Pinterest is searchable. So make certain you're very clear there. For Instagram, it is really just the name field in your handle. That's the only thing searchable there. So you really have to think about what you're going to focus on to help you be found in search in terms of your social posts. Okay. Here's an example. Individual tweets can come up. So you're searching hashtag marketing on Google. You'll see that individual tweets can come up. So your profile might come up, and then individual posts might come up as well. So that's really important to note when you're like writing your tweets and using hashtags, that you still want to make certain you're using keywords in your social posts. The more that your social content comes up on searches, the more that search engine will consider you a legitimate business as well. It's more instances of seeing your business out there, and it has less fears that you're not a real business, which is a big part of what Google is trying to figure out. And you can see here how individual videos show up for YouTube as well. So again, it's about getting that title, especially the title in this case, having the proper amount of keywords in them. Yesha asks, how important are stories? When I think about stories, I think about them as a separate social platform. So you have some people on Instagram who just look at stories and don't really look at feeds much. You have some people who look at feeds. You have some people who look at both. So there's a lot of different options there. Okay, there's a lot of different options. And if you want to make certain that you want to boost your account, you need to be doing stories and feed on Instagram. On Facebook, stories aren't quite as important, but it's still like a totally separate social network. It's barely even connected. And it's the same thing with Instagram. Stories are barely even connected. Instagram is a conglomeration of basically, like, you have Instagram, then competitors started happening, and they're like, oh, we need to take what the competitor's doing and throw that in here, and let's take this and throw that in here. We don't have YouTube. Let's make IGTV. oh, we don't have what Snapchat's doing. Let's make it and call it stories. So it's almost like they're separate social networks. The more you're on all of them, the more your account's going to grow. So I think doing stories is very important for growing on Instagram. I'm not certain how much it helps with growing on Facebook right now. And your stories, of course, stories are ephemeral social, meaning that they only last 24 hours unless you save them to your highlights. But they really, your feed needs to be super, super curated. Very specific in your aesthetic, in your intent, in what you're putting out there about your business. Your stories, however, they can be a little more casual, a little less structured, a little less formal professional photography. So your stories can be a lot of different kinds of things. Okay, so I talked about this a little bit already. I'm just gonna put it up there for a second before we go on. And please keep posting more stories. We're short on time, but I'll keep going and answering any comments that come up. I think I said keep posting stories, keep posting questions and comments, please. So a couple places quickly where you can monetize social. This is one of the reasons I really, really encourage YouTube. If you feel like, oh yeah, I can be on camera, I can handle that. You can make a whole bunch of YouTube videos in a short time, and if you start growing your YouTube account, you can make money. It can be another revenue stream for your business. Remember, we're talking about ROI. That can be really, really great for you on YouTube. As long as you have good information, you're willing to put in the time to make your video lively and engaging. Now, there are shoppable pins. You can do some shoppable stuff on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. That can help, but for most people, it's not going to be like a major income stream. YouTube, if you become popular on YouTube, honestly, you can live on your YouTube money, which I'm sure you'd want it as secondary to your business. You can make a lot of money on YouTube. And so even imagine if you had just a small stream of money coming in, that's still a nice added revenue. So I really encourage people to do YouTube. And you can buy the stuff you need for not much money. Here, I'll show you. I have a halo light right here. And see, this is where you put your phone. This thing is $40. Okay, it just helps. It helps me look better, a little more glowy. So, but it really helps when I'm doing social media videos. And then you can buy other things, like you can buy a better camera, or you can buy something to hold your phone, a gimbal to hold your phone so that it stays stable if you want to walk around and take videos. It's about $100. Get a tripod for your phone. So there's a lot of small equipment that you can get for just a couple $100s and have a pretty decent setup, buy a decent microphone and things like that. And you can start making money. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the new rules for COVID and civil unrest. But I say there's new rules, but really they're the rules that have always applied. It's really not different than any other crisis. So the general rules, right? Have empathy, show empathy, compassion, sound like you care. Also make certain that you are always following the rules that are set out. Do not use pics of you without a mask. Don't use pics of you close to an employee with like you and your employee with your arms around each other. People will automatically see that and think you're doing that right now, even if it's an old picture. So for a dental office, for example, we had to cut out all pictures of them with employees together or close to customers. They all had to be wearing masks, and we even got these comments about when he's performing a procedure that the dentist wasn't wearing the correct mask, and he was very angry. Like, what do these people know? This is the mask that's rated for this particular procedure. But regardless, you'll get those comments. So you have to be careful about it. You want to follow the rules. You want to talk about what's happening. Don't be scared to mention what's happening. If you don't, it sounds like you're, a little tone deaf. You don't understand what's going on. And you want to adapt your content. So if a crisis happens, take a look at all content. We do this for our clients. Like, what is scheduled? Let's make certain it's all okay. Admit your mistakes. So when you make mistakes around a crisis, you will be found out because of social media, because people have cameras. So you will be found out. So tell the truth, admit your mistake, and focus on what you're doing to fix it. This is generally the important things with all crises. Now, during this crisis, I say don't sell, but you might think, but that's what I do. I sell things. I have to be selling. This is really a time to inform and be concerned about your customers. That concern will help you get business. So it's not like by don't selling, I'm saying don't get customers, but there's a different way to get customers during a crisis like this. So you don't want to be sending out emails about this special that I have. I've seen some like COVID-19 coupon codes. That's kind of in bad taste. I would avoid that sort of thing. There's an exception, like for restaurants doing takeout, people are actually looking for specials and offers on social media. So it's really working well for them and for others that are like needed supplies at the time. But in general, most businesses don't really want to be pushing sales. They want to be listening. They want to be showing that they're caring. They want to empathize. I very rarely recommend pausing your social media, but twice now, just in these last few months. I've heard a lot of social people saying like, you know, I've now recommended pausing social more now than I have in my entire career combined and the entire rest of my career combined. So there are times like Blackout Tuesday, don't post don't post a black picture, a screen, like the black screenshot. Instead, just don't post. Last week, I paused content on all 30 of our clients. So a full week of no content with what was going on last week. Oh, that's a great question, Yasha. Is there a certain ratio that you should have between followers and following on IG? Yes, generally don't go more than 50% of your followers in your following. So like you have 10,000 followers, don't follow more than 5,000. But they do have limits on how many you can follow, so you can't follow a ton anyway. But don't go more than half on how many that you follow. People actually look at that when they're evaluating influencers. For most companies, I don't know that it matters that much. But for influencers that want to get brand, they want to get people liking your brand, they want to get brand ambassadorships, they really look at this when they're evaluating influencers. I know I did when I worked for corporations that were looking for influencers. So generally you want to keep it around 50%, no more than 50%. And sometimes you might go through and evaluate who exactly are you following and do you really need to be following them. Another thing people ask sometimes, I do not recommend following your customers. Now, if you're like a business to business, you have a few clients, but sometimes people are following their personal accounts. So if you can follow like your customers' business accounts, go ahead and do that. But you really shouldn't be following their personal accounts. It's just, yeah, it's a little weird. It's not that appropriate. So I would avoid doing that. More questions. We only have a few minutes left. More questions. Otherwise, I'll keep talking. Dealing with negative comments is really, really hard. It can be very, very frustrating. But you want to respond to all comments, including negative comments, unless that comment is like really, really hateful. Like it's swearing, it's violent, it's really hateful. You can hide or delete the comment, but very, very rarely do that. And usually you want to put some sort of rules. When I say establish rules, put a list of what the rules are for your channel. And that will make it easier if you have to delete a comment. You can just say it violated the rules that we had for our community here. And people are less likely to jump on you about deleting that person's comment. So, for example, when I say responding with empathy to negative comments, say something like, I see how that can be frustrating. Would it help if we whatever, propose like another solution. We understand how high tensions are right now, and it's causing a lot of frustration. We what happened to my tongue? Too much talking today. It got tied up. We reached out to you via DM to tell you more about this. So approach them with understanding in the negative comments and try to address what they're saying. Because remember, sometimes people want to just address it in private, but when that comment is posted, people everywhere, your whole community hears it. So when you respond to them, you're also responding to your whole community so that they can see how you're handling things, what you're doing, what you feel about what they said. So just don't let them bait you. Don't get into an argument. Don't get angry. Keep it calm. Walk away. If you can't handle responding right then, walk away and come back. Well, I think we are about out of time. Any other questions coming in? I hope this has been helpful to you all. And remember, you can contact me at Shana@wingnutsocial.com if you have more questions.
There was a lot of really good things going on here. So a lot of great information here. Some I think we can even dive further into pieces, and you know, it's amazing of all the pieces that are there. So if anybody else doesn't have anything else, we want to say thank you for your time today. And if you need to get in touch with Shana, if you can't remember that, we'll have this reposted so you can catch up on anything that you missed. And if you need other contacts, you can also contact Dorothy or myself, and we'll get you contacted with Shana with that. If you got some questions, I'm sure she can help you out with those. So we really appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday day. Make the most of it. And we will catch up with you soon. So thank you so much. And thank you, Shana, for being here.
Great. I love talking about this stuff. I just love it.
No, it was fascinating. I'm sitting here going to all the other questions I could keep asking. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.